Yeah, 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 yeah. You're now tuned into the one and only place where you can get what's needed on your plate, along with what's going on in your hood. Candy Lady's gonna keep you up to date with events going on round your way. What's really good? SC by Black locally, keep them dollars circulating in your own community. It's the SCBBL show. You're now tuned into the SCBBL show. Rock on. Rock on.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the SCBBL show. It is Tuesday, October 20th, and we are with our lovely guest, Representative Krystle Matthews. Hi, Krystle.
Hello. Hi, Candace.
Thank you so much for being one of our guests for the 2020 election series. We know that voting is extremely important, now even more than ever before. And so I felt like it was very important for us to come up with this series and talk to some local representatives who are already in seat, running for seat, just to help spread more awareness around what these seats are all about. Because a lot of times people are out of sync because there's no relatability. They don't know how it affects them. And I felt like it was just important to share more about that within our community.
I agree completely. I think people are very out of touch with what really goes on, but I also think that some of that is by design. Mm-hmm. I don't know that people actually want the general public to actually know all the details of what goes on, but I think I do a pretty good job of being transparent and telling people what I know and what I've learned.
You definitely do that. First of all, let me see that shirt you're wearing today.
Birch and Pin, shout out to Jordan Jackson.
Shout out to Jordan. And It's so funny because I have on my Mama Africa.
Nice.
We're both representing some Black-owned businesses within the community. So that's an awesome thing. And it was not planned.
It was not intentional. But I do love this t-shirt. I think I wear it more than anything else.
It's a nice shirt, definitely, for sure. So, Krystle, tell people a little bit about yourself as an individual before you got into your seat as the House representative.
Okay, so I am a single mother of 5.
Wow.
I have a 16, 15, 10, 7, and 6-year-old. And I'm also an engineering planner for the Boeing Company. I've been there 12 years, and I still work full-time even while I serve. This is my first term in the State House. I am the first woman and the first Black woman to ever win my seat. And I flipped it from, I think it was 8 or 10-year incumbent that had never been opposed at all. Nobody ever ran against them until I ran. So when you get involved, things can change.
Definitely. And I'm all kudos to you. Boeing, you said engineer?
Engineering planner, yeah.
Wow.
Blueprints.
Wow. That alone, I'm an engineer, as well. I don't currently work in that role, but I know how demanding that role is. So kudos to you for that. That alone, balancing a household of children singly and representing, a state representative, that is huge. So we appreciate all that you sacrifice and what you do for South Carolina.
Thank you.
So with that being said, what intrigued you about the House? You could have run for anything. Like, what was it about the House that intrigued you to run?
So I am a random reader, as I have titled myself, self-titled by myself as a random reader. Mm-hmm. And I read different things that catch my eye for whatever reason. But one night I was on my phone reading. I was in bed and there was an article titled Midterm Elections and Why They're Important. I just started reading it, y'all, not knowing, I had no idea that local elections affect our community so much. I mean, my mind was blown wait, I didn't know this. And so that led me to research who actually was in my district. And when I realized that he had been unopposed for almost 10 years, I was like, nobody wanted to run. And not that, and I don't know him, so not that he's a bad person, but just to the fact that I don't believe that leaving people in positions for lengthy periods of time like that is ever good for us, because as a society, we continually change and we gradually grow. And I think it's important that we mimic that growth in all areas of our legislature, because the rules and the laws of the land that we make, they sometimes, if you ever talk about archaic, when you talk about what feels archaic to you, old mentality can bring old law. And
Yep.
so you got to be very careful when you're balancing wisdom with what's going on currently. And I do believe that you don't have to sacrifice wisdom, because those people can reach down and mentor, give back in other ways that will allow their wisdom to live on and their legacy to live on far beyond their physical years. So I decided, I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and I called my best friend Twin, and I said, I'm going to run for this seat. And she was like, yes, do it. And I was like, wait, you're not going to ask any more questions? Like, you got nothing else you want to ask me or nothing? Just go.
Right.
And she said, you already mentor, you already volunteer. I was already doing a lot of that in the community even before I ran. And she was like, it's just, where do we do? What are we going to register? And I was like, okay. So I Googled where to go register and what to take, and I literally went, and that's how it happened. And
wow.
I raised less than $1,000. I didn't know how to campaign. I didn't know how to fundraise. I didn't know how to do any of it. I didn't know anybody in the party on either side. I didn't know anybody that did anything in politics, but I said, you know what? If they choose me, they choose me. And if they don't, they don't. But I'm going to run to inspire people like myself who feel like we want to have a voice, but we don't even know where to start or don't know what to do. And we want to get involved. And I did just that. And I think I'm inspiring people to pay attention. And that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Most definitely. And talk about take action. That's taking action. Read, sleep, run. Like,
yes. Read, sleep, run. Read. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Read, sleep, run.
Wow. Yes. Put it on the website.
Read, sleep, run.
Said, shout out to Queen Cat watching. She said, old mentality can bring old law. That's very deep. Yep. Yeah. So I was looking up the definition of what the House seat does. And basically it just says your primary duties are to create and vote on bills that make new laws or modify and update old ones. And I know that there are certain areas that you're very passionate about. So you want to tell the people a little bit about what you're passionate about, and probably some of the things that you see some of your colleagues that kind of have the same thought process as you do, what they might be also trying to make happen for our local communities.
Before I do that, if you don't mind, I would like to kind of tell people how to better use our roles, because I don't think a lot of people know how to use us in real time.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's why I like Krystle, because she's going to tell you exactly what needs to be.
I'm going to give y'all what I can give y'all while I can give it, because listen, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. And if you believe that it is, if 2020 hasn't shown you anything else, please know that tomorrow is not promised. So when you're talking about your House rep, we are called the People's House because we represent the people. And anytime you have a representative who does not represent you, it can present a problem. And I think a lot of times what we find is that we have representatives who represent their own personal interest over the interest of the whole. Right? I might want to be this way on an issue, but if most of the people I represent are another way, I need to make sure that I am also weighing that into my consciousness, not just like, oh, I'm gonna just do what I want. They elected me, I'm gonna do it my way. That does not make sense. Especially we have some white representatives who represent mostly Black areas, and I watch how they vote because it's just in me to do. And they don't vote in the interest of Black people. And so I'm always baffled, but because people are asleep at the wheel, they keep getting reelected. Okay. Yep. So if you have an issue with your flooding, SCDOT, any of your state agencies, and you're having and you followed through the process. You filed unemployment, you filed for PPP or EIDL or any of those. I've dealt with all of those in 2020, y'all.
Yeah.
If you have done what they said do on the website and it has not worked and you're still hitting the stopgap every time, call your rep. Can you help me get through this? Can you help me figure out who to talk to? Can you help me? We have ways that we can contact those departments and those personnel and help you guys try to work through those issues. If you're having flooding on your street and you're not sure who the road belongs to, the city or the state, because who's going to work on it depends on who owns it. Sometimes they share it. I have done many flood walks, and it happens, but we can call those agencies in and say, hey, we need you to come down here so we can try to see if there's a fix or something that we can do to alleviate this water buildup or something, But I will tell you that this is like church.
Yeah.
Since we on a Black website, I'm going to just say we're going to use church as a reference. I'm not real churchy. I do curse a little. But we're going to use church today. So this is like church. You get out what you put in.
Yes.
If you sitting in your house waiting on your rep to call you, it is not coming.
Nope.
I represent 44,000 people. There's no way that I can contact all 44,000 of y'all. But if you call me and want to have a conversation with me and want to talk to me, even if you don't need nothing, let's say you just say, I just want to know who this is. I had a Black lady the other day who told me, now who your people? And where you from? And I answered her because I wanted to make sure she felt like she knew who I was.
Right.
That is something that you can do. And that will also tell you when election time comes, you don't have to start researching then. That'll tell you whether it's somebody that you like or not, because if they weren't able to help you or didn't want to help you, because there's some that don't, and they pick and choose based on whatever, right? Then you can tell your neighbors. Listen, one thing that our community has done well is network. Word of mouth is so strong in the Black community. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. There's nothing like it. And you can start telling your neighbors and your friends, well, I reached out to this person. I reached out to Rep Matthews. Excuse me. And she was so rude. I mean, just rude. Just blew me off. She didn't answer my calls or nothing. She had a nasty attitude. Then when election time comes and I'm smiling in your face talking about, hey, Candace, it's so good to see you. I just wanted to know if you're going to vote for me. Hoping that I can count on your vote, right? Exactly. Girl, you ain't going to never believe who just knocked on my door talking about she wanted me to vote, and she was all smiles.
Girl, she two-faced. Okay. So that is what we do. And we also do, like when we're in the state house, we do vote, we do pass laws, and we do make laws. But one thing that they're not good at in the state house is breaking away from what they've always done. One of the most hurtful phrases that I have heard in the state of South Carolina is that's the way we've always done things. Oh my God.
It's a very, very traumatic phrase, a very hurtful phrase, because that signifies that there was nothing wrong when they did it the first time. And we all know that there are many flaws and fallacies that exist here and that have existed here for quite some time now. So we don't want that. And also, they have a bad habit of giving the facade of change, but not necessarily giving teeth to anything that will implement change. I know I probably went off on what you wanted me to say, but if I can roll into body cameras for the police. Big deal right now in the Black community is body cameras and things like that. Well, in this state, they passed a law that would mandate that police wear body cameras only if the state funded them. So when the budget came out and the state didn't fund them, how many of y'all know you can't mandate it if they say the only way you can mandate it is if you fund it? Come on, somebody. This is church.
Wow.
This is church.
You better testify.
So giving the facade of change without the actual teeth of change won't get you where you're trying to go. This is why some folks ain't gonna like me, because I do tell the truth and people ain't gotta like it. But I hope the people out there watching can say unlimited. And if they say unlimited, just keep saying unlimited. That is the amount of times that you can get caught illegally carrying a gun and get a misdemeanor that will end up in probation. But if you steal a Snickers bar, Candace, 3 times, on the 3rd time, they can sentence you to 10 years in jail.
That is so stupid.
Child. But it's law. But it's law. This is Sierra Mist for those haters out there.
Y'all need to put unlimited.
I'm just a little fancy. I'm a little fancy, so it's in a fancy cup, but it's Sierra Mist. But unlimited. Wow. And so we have to teach our kids to make sure that they are living above reproach, not because they should have to, but in order to dismantle a system that was built against you, you have got to be able to get around the speed bumps and roadblocks that they've already thrown up. And in order to do that, you got to have honest, hard conversations. Implicit bias is a big deal. When you talk about the media and they show us all these murders and these killings and these police shootings, and y'all are not doing us a favor, because when you see only black crime, who do you think commits crime?
Yep, only black
people.
Yep.
There's just as much white crime. Why they ain't showing white crime? You mean tell me white folks ain't stealing nothing, killing nobody?
I don't understand that to this day, Krystle. Why is it that when a black person gets in trouble, they are so fast to show you that person's face, but any other race that gets into any kind of trouble, you don't see that?
So let's tie this back into politics. Whenever there's a race war historically, and again, I'm kind of nerdy, so I do a lot of reading, but historically, when there's a race war or anything of that combative is going on, Republicans come out on top. It riles up their base. And it's also a moneymaker. Remember, everything you see is money exchanging hands. Don't ever fall asleep at the wheel thinking that this is for some other reason. Views on media, views on the news, views on TV, YouTube. These are clicks and likes and things. People make money off of that. When there's tension in America, there's money to be made. That's the same ideology when you talk about war. When there's war going on, there's money being exchanged. All of these things equate to the same thing. And I know us as the Black community, one of the things that I have been disappointed that we don't do is we don't support our own. We don't not support the people who we know don't support us enough. And what I mean by that is when we find out that a business is not for us, we will sacrifice integrity for convenience.
Yep.
That is something that baffles me to no end. We'll sacrifice integrity for convenience, and people know that. So if you think that the people that's making the laws at the top don't understand that, they do. And that is why they will apologize and say, Candace, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But while I sympathize with you, I'm still going to make this decision against you because they know that you'll forgive them and come back. And I have since said many times over, sometimes it's not dealing with the hope of what you think a person can be, but dealing with the reality from what they're showing you. Sometimes you just have to deal with the reality that is right in front of you. And people ask me, are you how do you feel about your race? Well, I feel just fine about my race because this title don't make me. It doesn't make me. And I'm more concerned about the journey than the destination. If you have people in politics that are representing you, but they aren't concerned about doing anything for your community or have not been involved to help in any way, and they're waiting until they get elected to do it, then they're not going to do it after.
Right.
You are misled if you believe that for some reason them waking up to a win is going to then say they might get you for a good strong 2 weeks though. I'm gonna give y'all that. I'm gonna give y'all that 2 weeks. They got you for 2 weeks, but after that, it's all gone.
And shout out to my mom for watching. She was wondering if her area is your area.
Where she live? Let me throw it in Google.
She's in Ridgeville.
Oh no, I don't have her. She has. I don't know who's running against. Mandy Kimmons has Ridgeville, and so does I think Robert Brown had Ridgeville too, right? So I'm not sure. She might have Chardell Murray, who's a young Black lady who's up and coming. But I would have to put after the show, Candace. Let's throw your mom's address in Google, and then I'll be able to exactly tell her who is in her district. And that goes for anybody else watching the show. If you Google verbatim, who's my South Carolina state representative, there's a link, and you can put your address and city. You don't have to do the zip code and all that. Just your address and your city, street address and city, hit submit, and it'll give you everybody from the top down, everybody from Lindsey Graham, Tim Scott. If you have Joe Cunningham or Clyburn, it'll say that. and then it'll give you my seat and your Senate seat, and then you can click who it is.
Who's in my
Google? Who's my South Carolina? I just put SC. I don't ever type the words. Who's my SC state representative? If you Google that, it will tell you who you have. And if you have ordered, one thing I want to say before I forget, if you order absentee ballot by mail and you change your mind and you want to vote in person, you can do that. But please remember, you have to take it with you because they have to account for that mailed-in ballot. So you can change your mind, but you have to take it with you when you go to vote in person so that they can account for a lot of our more seasoned members do not understand this, and they're unsure about it. And it's fine if you change your mind. Just take it with you so that they can account for it. And you know, and you can go to jail for voting twice. You don't want to do that. That's stupid. Don't do that on a humbug.
Right. And some people find out after the fact, like after they get to the polls, they filled out the absentee just in case. And then they got to the polls and found out that, oh, we need your absentee ballot in order for you to vote. And
I am encouraging you to vote early, vote now, in case there's a hiccup, in case there's something you got a chance to fix it or redo or whatever you got to do. But do that now. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't take a chance on not being able to get off on your job on that day. Election day in South Carolina is not a protected day. Your job does not have to let you off work to go vote. So a lot of jobs do, but all of them don't. The service industry takes a big dig when it comes to days like election day because service industries don't shut down.
Exactly.
So waitresses, hospitals, nurses, all your service people, when you go out to eat, the people sweeping the floor, janitors, those people don't get those accommodations as readily as some of us others. So just keep that in mind. And if you're off and you have a day off, it's probably a good idea to go vote now.
We went yesterday and it was an 1.5-hour process. So if it's
go in the afternoon, because I hear that the afternoons go faster because in the morning, everybody has the same idea to go get in line.
We went at like 3. I originally wanted to go in the morning, but my work meetings didn't stop until after that. But we went around 3:00 and it was an 1.5 hour wait. So what I'm saying is if it's already an 1.5 hour wait now for early voting, I don't think you want to be caught in that line on the day of.
And ain't no telling what the weather gonna be like that day. Hey, if nothing else make you go, this beautiful fall weather ought to have you stand out in line. Like seriously.
Yes, and then
you want to stand out there right now while you got a breeze.
You still need an umbrella, and you might want to have your little pop-up chairs. Because listen, that sun was beaming yesterday.
Yes,
but oh my goodness. So, what are some of the things, Krystle, that you have been working on or focus on trying to make better for your local community?
So a few of the things that I've been focused on is definitely flooding. I'm a little irritated about the flooding that goes on in my community. I am irritated with the fact that they have been studying flooding for near 80 years, it feels like. And how come I would like, if I had it my way, I would like to start implementing more local solutions to flooding, whether it's tapering roads or creating easements that allow the water to flow into a more mainstream outlet. That way we don't have so much flooding in these offset communities. It is really irritating. So flooding, definitely. Education is another huge one for me. Of course, I have 5 young children who are still in school, and quality public education is just something that everybody should have a right to. It's not a privilege, it's a right. Right. And I think what's funny is that we talk about separate but equal, and we don't have equal education. We don't have equal access and opportunity to education. We don't have higher paying jobs to pay for private school and things like that. But the most egregious part of this, though, let me tell you, I had a conversation earlier. I'm sorry. I keep going off, but it's about education, I promise. So I need the Black community to understand that some of this stuff is real basic. Hear me?
Yeah.
Like, when you go to college, your college doesn't ask you whether you went to private or public school. They want your transcript and your GPA and your test scores. Listen, they don't say, Candace, was your school private or public? There's no checkbox for private or public when you go to college.
I'm glad you said that.
Folks, that is a mental game and a money maker. Please don't be fooled. And then we're going to take our black kids out of their community and bus them for an hour somewhere and then get mad when their mama don't show up to the school to support them or to see what's going on with them when something is wrong. Now, hold up. You want me to do what now? In the middle of my work day? When I already can't get off? We already short-staffed and ain't got nobody to cover my shift, but you want me to leave and drive an hour to the school because he did what in class? He drew on the desk. You better get you some Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and stop calling me.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The little things that they drive into, and then the mentality of saying, well, we trying to merge our black kids with these white kids. Proximity to whiteness don't mean we learn better.
Nope.
Stop telling our black kids they can't learn unless they next to some white kids.
Wow.
One ain't got nothing to do with the other.
We've
been learning on our own for many, many years, for many, many generations. It's so many folks willing to say, be not confused. Black children equal money and opportunity because we have less people paying attention. We have less people concerned about the wherewithal of our kids. And so all these organizations and people can swoop in with the promise of something that they never show proof of. They never show proof of it. Y'all start asking for proof. Black folks quick to, when we argue with one another, Candace, if me and you disagree, I don't like Candace. You know what? She invited me on her show, and then after y'all got off live, she was nasty. I got receipts. Ask for some receipts for these organizations that keep coming down here telling you what they're going to do for our black kids and ain't doing it. Show me some receipts. Where the receipts at?
You better preach.
Come on, y'all. Some of this is very simple. I keep telling people, hood rules apply.
Yeah.
Where the receipts at? Where? Yeah. Where they at? This is simple. If you down here and you're being effective, you should have receipts.
Right.
Our test scores should be going up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The amount of kids graduating should be going up.
Yes.
And when they close an old school and open a new school and the same children get transferred over, they don't carry over the school's score. So on the scorecard and all that, it goes away and they start over.
Wow.
Don't be misled. Ask for receipts. Hold these people, hold them to the fire. Hold them accountable.
And see, Krystle, is like these and conversations are very important because what you're saying, a lot of people are not even thinking about it. We're so shallow a lot of times. It's like, oh, we got a new building. Oh, it's making the community look better. Oh, you know, like, we're not thinking about any of the fundamental stuff. Don't
confuse better with good. Just because something is better don't mean it's good. Right? I might treat you better than I used to, but that doesn't mean I'm still treating you good. Okay.
Oh my God. Yes. Drop that knowledge, please. We need it.
I'm just trying to help some people out because I feel like we get so misled by what we see in the news and the media. And I keep telling, when you do research, don't do it if you want to research anything to validate your opinion, that's easy. The internet will validate whatever opinion you want to have. The sky is sometimes orange. You will find, but when you research, don't research to send yourself in any direction. Research both sides of the argument. Find as much information as you can. That way you have as much information as you can have when you're dealing with the subject matter. But don't do it to find a bias because, as my aunt used to say, you can chase a lie in any direction. But you're still going to be chasing it. You're still going to be chasing it at the end of the day.
Yes.
So, I mean, like, y'all, I love teaching about what I do. I didn't never think I could be in love with politics, but I actually love being able to give y'all the inside scoop on what goes on. Be wary of black people in politics who tell you things that you know are non-tangible. Right. Because they'll get up all day and say, I fought for this. Yeah, they did, even though they knew you couldn't get it. Yeah. I fought for this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but they did. But they knew it wasn't gonna happen in the first place.
Yeah, like you just said, fighting for the body cameras, not getting the funding. So you fought for one thing, you don't have the money to fund it, so whoop-de-doo. Like you fought a good fight for nothing.
Yeah, we passed that. We did. I'm so proud to say we passed the law for body cameras.
Awesome.
And there are things that we do vote on that have problematic sentences and parts in them, and you kind of vote for it because of the whole of it is better than whatever the sum of what you don't like is. There are instances where you're not all in on a bill.
Yeah.
And nobody's willing to tell you that, because everything they say, they want it to sound positive. And if you find a legislator who's an expert in every area, they a liar. I'm telling you what I know. They a lie. I don't claim to be an expert in not too many areas. There are a few that I do get down with, but I fought for the pink tax, getting tax off of women's feminine products. That's something that should have been done many moons ago. When we talk about, aging out and things, we don't have that many women. Y'all, 16%. Here I go with my numbers, and y'all keep saying these numbers with me. 16%. Out of national politics, only about 16% of them are women. Wow. Yet we make up 50% of the United States population.
Wow.
There's roughly 166 million women in the U.S. and roughly 160 million men.
Wow.
And we only account for roughly 16%, maybe closer to a quarter after this last election when all these women got elected. But
Isn't
still, that's still not enough.
Like 1% of the population for women? Almost?
Yeah. It's crazy. And guess what? Black folks is always on the chopping block. But we are not the second largest ethnicity besides whites. Hispanics are. Did y'all know that?
Mm-hmm.
Hispanics are a larger population of ethnicity in the United States than black folks are.
Wow.
Yet they always got their foot on our neck.
Yep. That's crazy.
Always. Isn't that crazy? And I said 232.
And see, you speak in my sister's language, because she's somebody who suffered from painful menstruation cycles. And so she always felt like it should be considered like a sick time, for women, because a lot of women suffer from fibroids and all kinds of stuff that we really don't understand what's going on with our bodies. It affects women differently all the time. So it's like, why is it okay for me to have a sniffles cold and be able to take sick time, but I can't really use that for,
because when everybody governing over you is somebody who doesn't have to deal with that, or don't. If men had to menstruate, girl, we'd have had days off. Who you?
Yes. Yes.
What? We'd have vacation and everything. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Say 232, Candace.
232.
232. If you listen at home, say 232. That's how many years we've had men presidents and never a woman.
Wow.
232 years of men, never a woman president. 232
of the same
232 of men. Most of y'all don't want to be married for 232 years.
Exactly.
Kidding me? Oh, y'all. We got to get in the game. Women have traditionally been led to take back seats, and we're always in support roles.
Yes.
But I keep saying we have license and we now want to drive.
Right.
We don't want to ride in the passenger side no more. We want to drive the car. We have license and we free to go. A lot of the skills that I use in the statehouse are things that I already acquired just through life experience, whether it was from being a mother, whether it was from working and being the only woman in my work group, or whatever the case may be. These experiences have prepared me and propelled me into what I do now. And I actually thought I was going to be behind, but I ended up not being behind. I'm actually ahead of some of them, especially when you talk about mentality, right?
Yeah.
Mentality wise, I'm light years ahead. And I keep telling people, women do one thing better than most people I know, and that is balance.
Yes.
I don't care how many things you give us, we figure out a way to make them work. And if you add something new at the very last second, a woman will figure out a way to make it work. And you will never even knew anything was wrong in the first place. You'll be like, oh, you added that on? Like, when it's over, then we be sitting back like, girl, that event was a headache. I mean, she added 3 bridesmaids and a taco bar at the last second, and nobody attending knew any of the wiser.
Yep.
That's how good we are. That's just how good we are. And we have got to start walking in our greatness. We've got to start using that boldness. A lot of us are sitting on that little door in our chest that's telling us to go do something else.
Yes.
And we pushing it back. We putting everybody's hopes and dreams ahead of ours. Our friends, your friend call you in the middle like, girl, I had a vision. You up listening to her vision, but you ain't working on yours. Our husbands, our kids, our pastor, first lady, our church members, the ushers.
Krystle offering paying at y'all? What Krystle offering?
Girl, give me my offering plate. But we'll push everybody else's stuff to the forefront, and we'll say, we'll say to ours, I'll get to it later.
I'll get to it later.
When my kids get grown, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
After I finish, here's one for the single people. After I finish college, I'll get to it. Once I get a little bit more experience, I'll get to it. And then we'll say that, Candace, and we'll watch somebody with less experience apply, get a position, and then be mad at them.
Exactly.
Be mad. He ain't qualified, but he applied.
Yes.
He ain't qualified. You are better. But he applied and you didn't.
Krystle, my mom in her living room hollering, she said.
Hello, mama. Somebody got to tell the truth.
Yes.
But we do it. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do. And people are like, where do you get the energy from? I don't know. It must have came from the heavens itself, because I take every day 1 hour at a time, and don't believe I don't go crazy from time to time. But y'all, we have got to address mental health in the Black community. I believe many of us are walking around with mental health issues that have not been discovered, not been talked about or addressed.
Gosh.
And we so busy trying to be strong in the whole. I hate when people say she's a strong Black woman. That is not a badge of honor, because she shouldn't have to carry more weight than is necessary to survive in this society. Some of us are walking around with so much extra on us that we deformed. We are now developing deformities because we have not learned how to get that extra off of us. And it's become part of something that was supposed to be a temporary discomfort has now become permanent.
Oh my God.
And now we're just carrying it around, and we're being toxic, and we're spreading it all throughout to other people, to our family members, to our kids. And when I say family members, it don't have to just be your children. It could be your brothers and your sisters. It could be your mother, these mother, daughter, and son relationships. We're trying to bury these children. They can no longer get their hands burnt on the stove anymore by making mistakes. As soon as they make a mistake, we're ready to charge them with a felony and bury their whole life under a jail. It used to be a time when a child was cutting up in your neighborhood, you called a mama.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. But now they call the police and they want to charge your baby because he did something that was less than favorable. And I ain't talking about taking lives. Murder has never been a thing that we were okay with.
Exactly.
But when we're talking about things that are less than that,
right?
We want to bury these children and not let them. And then society has us working 2 and 3 jobs, and then they also saying, "Well, why you ain't raising your kids?" Well, if you paid me a living wage, I could probably raise them.
Right.
You don't want to raise them. You don't want me to raise them because you want to pay me $7.25 in 2020 when I need at least $13.50 an hour to pay rent.
Exactly. And that's all you can probably pay without groceries and gas and utilities. Girl. And the list goes on and on and on.
Girl, how about that? And then we're not providing any support services or anything like that. The one of the best things I ever did was go to my doctor and tell him about my troubles. I went to my doctor one day, and before I knew it, I was telling him all my business. I said, I'm so stressed. I got this, and this. And he was like, I think we need to do something for anxiety. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. The only thing I regret was that I didn't do it sooner.
Right.
Because mental health in the Black community is looked at as being weak.
Yes. We don't talk about it.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little help, y'all. Everybody gets weighted down, and constant stress ain't good for your body. It will tear your stuff up. It'll exacerbate things that wasn't even awake.
Krystle, you got me. I got chills because last night we were just talking about this same thing on our health panel we had last night. And I joke around all the time. And when we have different conversation, I'm always like, Black people got mental health problems and we just don't address it. But we go through a lot of stuff, and the things that we accept, the things that we allow to tear our families apart, the things that we allow to tear relationships apart, whether it be like a religion thing or your belief system or just whatever it is that we allow to come and eat up and eat at us is ridiculous. and we seriously think that there's nothing wrong. That is a problem.
Yeah. If you grew up any kind of way, you think you're not affected by how you grew up, you're crazy. I grew up in a whole lot of turmoil. My mom went to prison when I was 8. I dog near moved out of my dad's house when I was like 14. I lived with my aunt and my other aunt and my uncle and my cousin. I'm one of those people. But every step along the way, somebody put their hand up under me and pushed me to the next stage. It was only because somebody was there to push me and I keep telling people, be a bridge or build a bridge. Bridges are designed to get you from location to location, whether it's hard to reach, whether it's too dangerous to cross, whether it's impassable. That is what a bridge is for. And so if you're not going to be a bridge, then you need to build a bridge. Because you never know when you could be that person in somebody's life that is just in the right space at the right time to get them through the next level. And you ain't always got to go with folks, but it's folks that don't want to see you go to, and don't even get me started on them, because I could probably talk all night about the folks who don't want to see you go.
I know one thing. When y'all done watching this live, y'all need to go to KrystleMatthews.com. Is it
It's KrystleForSE.com. www. But my name is spelled funny, so make sure y'all spell my name funny. KrystleForSE.com.
Right there, Representative Krystle Matthews, KrystleForSE.com. Y'all need to be making sure that y'all are sewing into this representative, because we need people who keep it real in seat. I don't care what areas they represent. When it all boils down, we need people that's slowly but surely making changes, who understand, who grasp what it's like to be in your shoes. So you guys make sure that you are supporting our representatives and sharing this video and liking it and everything, so more people are watching and being aware of what's going on around us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
My mom did have a question before we got kind of like.
Okay, what's her question?
It was concerning the agencies that help build communities. When you were talking about contacting your local representatives, she was wondering if there are some agencies that help build communities. I know some of the things that she had in mind was, if you've ever been through Highway 27, Pringletown, on that one road, there was
never been to Pringletown.
Yeah, it's like one street, Highway 27. There is no street lights on that road. And then another thing is that we found out in the Cross area that the park that we once thought was Cross Park, it actually belongs to like Santee Cooper. And so the park is like totally ran down. There used to be like a little league football field with the scoreboard. That's trash. The building that we were able to use as for the restrooms and change clothes for different events, trash. The most that I've seen that's been done over there is that they made a dock for boats for people to access the water.
So I really need to get with whoever you guys rep is, but this is a good opportunity for you to use your rep. Because we have connections at Santee Cooper that we can call and ask about this park and what we can do about it, or if they would annex it or give it to the city or whatever the case may be. That's one thing. Your rep can call and ask for that. This is a good learning opportunity right here.
Yes.
Not only that, but your rep can also find out whether the street that needs street lights is a city street or owned by the state. And then they can ask for the lights. They can ask what the process is. They can help y'all work through what is the process. What do we need to have? What do we need? What is necessary? It could just be an ask, or it could be a money issue. Not only that, but your city, whoever is your city. Now I'm running into the municipalities. When you run into your city manager or your town council, they can apply for grants and things through the state that will give them money to help do some of these things and update playground equipment, parks and rec. Everybody in the state can apply for the parks and rec grants every year.
Wow.
And we get a list on our desk of PARD funding. It's called PARD funding, PARD. And it's Parks and Rec Department. That's what it is. And it's funding for parks and rec items, whether they're updating something, refreshing it, or building it brand new. And so I don't know who represent your area, but again, if this is somebody who's going to help, fine. But if you call them and you find that this is somebody who has no interest in doing that, when I know Pringletown is an urban community and it sounds super country, which means our little kids need something to do with their time because they don't have city stuff.
It's nothing.
If they don't want to do that and they know that this is a big part of what the young people will need, then this is somebody y'all should be talking to each other about voting out. And then don't wait on somebody to run against them. Everybody thinks it's somebody else's responsibility to run. Nobody knew me. I ran on my own just because it was in my heart to do.
Right.
But if y'all know people in y'all community who would make great advocates and y'all see that this person don't have nobody to run against them, put somebody up.
Yeah.
Just if you don't do nothing else, just get their name on the ballot.
Right.
And it only costs what I think it's like $100 maybe to register, maybe possibly something like that. But even if they don't ever campaign, at least give the people somebody else to choose from.
Right.
At least at a minimum. At a minimum. You know what I mean? Like at a minimum, give them somebody. I raised $720, I think is what they told me the number was. I have no money. None. No money. So literally put a name on the ballot. You know what I mean? Just give the people somebody else to choose from. Get out. And Pringletown sound like a small town. So y'all can probably talk to everybody in a week. Look, y'all can probably talk to everybody in a week.
Yes.
We need you to vote for such and such. We know this person been here, but look at the park. Look at this and look at this. It's not changing. And they ain't fighting for nothing and they ain't putting in for nothing. All of that's important because you're not bashing them just for fun, but you're saying we need things and you're not getting us what we need.
Wow. That's major. And I think another thing that'll blow your mind, Krystle, is that Cross got like the internet stipend for being like a rural area. It was for Cross school. But we have children that live in Pringletown who have to be bused across. They didn't get that same stipend. So when they call home telephone trying to see if they qualified for the free internet, it's like, oh, this is only for Cross residents. So it's supposed to be something that's given to Cross students, but I think that
and again, that's something your representative could try to talk to them to work through, because that's probably a little nuance that they never thought about when they were writing it up.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Same thing with King Street, where Caesar McKnight is the representative in King Street, and he's constantly fighting for broadband because his students are doing the same thing. It's similar, very similar. So you have to have somebody who's willing to get in there and fight, and not only that, but give you the information back. Not just fight, but Candace, we went up there. We need people to write letters. We need people to make phone calls and say, we need this, we need this, we need this. And then if y'all fight and y'all don't get it, at least you know you got somebody that's with you.
Definitely.
Because there's times when people fight for things that they don't get, that they really genuinely need. But you want to make sure you have somebody who's at least going in there and putting their foot where the sun don't shine on your behalf.
We definitely cannot take a backseat. It's so much. I tell people that all the time. Like, it is so much work to be done that we have no time to be caught up on the who, what's, and whatnot. It's like, what's the goal? What are we trying to do? I hear people talk about all the time that, oh, we're so stuck on Democrat and we're so stuck on Republican, but we don't have a plan. Okay, well, like you said, if you don't create the bridge, if there isn't a bridge, create the bridge. So if we don't have a plan, do you have a plan? Are you trying to find out who has a plan? You know, like, none of that's going on, but we just hear constant complaints about what is not in place. What are you doing to put something in place and get
Black folks are real good about complaining and real horrible about solutions. And neither party, let's be clear, that neither party is coming to save us.
Nope.
We have enough people and enough mind power to save ourselves if we would try. And I'm going to touch on two things real quick before we get off. I'm not sure how long your show is, but you know, my attitude is already kind of twisted on a few of these things. But first of all, these celebrities that are coming out and they don't speak for me. So let me tell y'all something. These same folks that are coming out and telling Black people what to do, I'm just gonna say this as a legislator. Those same people could put money into institutions that would keep going for generation after generation after generation to help build our community.
Yeah.
But I'm going to not be petty, but be petty at the same time and say these are the same people that I see having wars on Facebook and other platforms over stupid stuff about whether people can read or not with enough money to change most of our lives. And this is who y'all want to follow on Facebook.
It's crazy.
If the media hadn't told you what they said, you wouldn't know. These are not people that are politically astute that you've been following in politics. These are people that the media put on a pedestal for you to know what they said, because if the media didn't tell you what they said, you would not know.
Wow.
Some of y'all won't hand out flyers in your local community, but you're carrying water for these celebrities on Facebook. Now, please, ma'am and sir, please, because I don't have a lot of patience. I don't have a lot of patience for craziness. But all they can do is ask. Don't get distracted by that, because the president, the governor, and nobody else that's the head of anything does anything alone. They can ask him for whatever they want, but you have to have Congress to get it. Come on, somebody.
That's right.
That is why we have 3 branches of government. So while y'all out here carrying water for people that y'all wouldn't have known nothing about if the media hadn't told you what they said, if you can't name who your local representative is or what they're doing or what their issues are for your community, then you maybe need to go research that instead. I ain't saying what they asking for might not be good. I didn't even read neither policy. None.
Right.
I didn't need to, because I know what I live with right here. And what's going on right here affects how I live.
Yep.
Make no mistake, the same people on TV telling you what to do don't live how you live. Their kids go to private school.
Exactly.
While these rappers are singing about shooting up stuff, dropping rims on it, and put booty scrubbing the ground, their kids is in private school. They using that scrub the ground booty money to send their kids to private school.
You better let them know.
While your kids is in public school trying to wear the newest sneaker, have the newest toy, and the biggest what? Come on.
Yes.
What?
Struggling.
What? They making money off of you and sending their kids to private school. Ask them how many of their kids is in public school. Exactly. And y'all carrying water for them on social media. Y'all better listen. Y'all better wake up.
Got to get your mind
right. Y'all better wake up. And when we talk about buying locally and buying Black, labels is just that. Labels are labels. Yep. The same names that y'all trust and screwed us over time after time after time. But as soon as I see somebody Black come out with a product, the first thing we'll say is, I'm not sure if it worked. Scrutiny. When I asked somebody about the Black bank and did they have a Black bank account, they said, I don't know if I trust them with my money. Well, Negro, BB&T, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo had lawsuits about stealing money from folks and doing it wrong, but y'all still putting y'all money there. Yep. Anyway, don't get me upset. I'm gonna stop before I get my blood pressure up. So we have been taught to distrust ourselves. Yes, we have. And that is a mentality that is on us to break. And we have the ability to save ourselves. Most of the entities and businesses that we use on a regular basis have us underneath them to hold them up, to do the work. Yep. And we still saying that we can't do it. We can do it. Yes, we can. We have to want to do it. That's right. If these celebrities can be on Facebook fighting over stupid stuff about who can read and betting millions of dollars on it, $1 million could change you and my life. Come on here. $100,000 could change so many of our lives. Girl. How many houses could they buy with the millions that they betting about whether Floyd Mayweather can read or not? Girl. How many? Whew. Think of how many families less than $20,000 with more than 7 people in the household. That part. And they getting fined $50,000 for this and $100,000 for that just because they can. But they want to come out here and tell Black folks what to do when it was Black folks who made them who they were, who they are.
That's right.
When they were selling CDs out the trunk, it wasn't white folks buying it.
Exactly.
Don't
got time for that. They was ready to lock our babies up with the roses.
Was it? Don't get wrapped around a party. Parties no party has had a black agenda, let me tell it. Neither party.
Right.
Neither party.
Mm-hmm.
But do I need them to have a black agenda? I need black folks to have a black agenda.
That's right. That's right. We cannot expect somebody to just come out the sky and drop this in your lap and say, this is what we want to do for you. It's what do you want to do for yourself? What do you want? What do you need? What's lacking? How can we be of assistance? Nobody can tell our story the way that we can tell our story. But if we never open up our mouths and say, this is what's needed, they're going to do what they want, what they think needs to be done based off of what they probably see in the media, based off of so many other things. So it's about us really having that real conversation. And I think one other thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up is when you said letting your rep know what's needed outside of phone calls. Do you have other platforms of how people can get that information to you?
Yeah. So I have email. My email is kmatthews.screp as in South Carolina rep @gmail.com. kmatthews.screp@gmail.com. But all of us are on the South Carolina House Legislature website. If you Google your district number, or when you find out who's my rep in the Google app, you can click on the name and it'll take you straight to the link. There should be a phone number. If you call the office and you leave a voicemail, we all have office assistants who will give us the message or email it or send it or call and let us know that it exists. But there's email, there's phone, there's web. Most of us have websites. I know there's only maybe a handful that don't, but most of us have sites or are on some kind of social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook. Some are on Instagram, but I think mostly Facebook and Twitter are the main ones. But if you are looking for your rep and you are not sure how to find your rep, I'm sure Candace will have a link to something I have on my page. You can inbox me and say, hey, I didn't really need anything. I just kind of wanted to know who my rep was. If you could help, this is my address. And you can inbox it. Don't put it on my page. Don't put your personal business on my page. Don't do it. You better inbox it.
Right.
Inbox it to me, and I will have somebody. I do have other admin that look at my page for me. One of us will grab it, throw it in, and I'll send you a screenshot of everybody from the top down who has your area. If you're still kind of frustrated with finding out who you have.
Perfect. And one other thing, guys, is like Krystle said, you can also go to Google and find out your early voting locations. Make sure you get out and vote early so you're not caught up in that line. Like she said, save that day for people who probably can't get off until that day from being in the service industry. But if you have flexibility in your schedule, you want to go vote early. Find your location. Just Google
voting early in Dorchester County, Charleston County, Berkeley County. There are other satellite locations besides the voter registration office is the main place, but there are other locations that they are setting up. So you want to make sure you scroll and read that way you know if there's a place closer to your house. If you are handicapped or disabled, you don't even have to get out of the car when you get there for early voting. You can pull into one of the parking spots that they have marked as curbside. They should be very clearly labeled. And they'll bring it straight to your car, let you mark it, and then you can go on about your way. If you have absentee and it's already filled out, you don't even have to wait in that line. Don't wait in that line. If you have absentee mail-in and you filled it out at home and you put it in that outer envelope, please read the instructions properly, because I have seen some people get there and it not be in that right envelope with that green on it or whatever it is. So make sure you read to make sure you have the envelopes correct. But you can drive up, and if somebody's saying something funny, you can drive up.
My mom says she voted for you for president.
Thank you. 2024. Girl, 20 or 32 years, we need one. I need to run in 2024.
Yes.
But yeah, you can drive up and they'll take it right in the car, and they will give you an iVote sticker if you drive up and drop your absentee ballot off that you received in the mail too. So
yes, I know for at least Mount Corner, there's a big tent at the voters registration office where they're accepting those ballots, the absentee ballots. And
if you're expelling, you can vote as long as all your time is served and your fines are paid. You are eligible to vote. You would have just had to register. This is one of the states that automatically restores your right to vote once your time is served and everything. So you just have to go register again.
Wow.
I think a lot of people are scared. And you can contact the courts, and they'll be able to look up your case and tell you as well if you want to just double check that way. It's too late for this year's election, but I keep telling people there's an election cycle every year.
Yes.
The way it's set up, it's off years, our midterm, and then so there's an election cycle about every year.
Yeah. So because I found out our school board is not up this year; it's next year. And then local town elections also. So for like our town council voting does not happen on election day. It happens the Tuesday after election day.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, big deal.
Yeah. It's stuff like that you don't see a lot of advertisement about it or anything. So it's like we had Latory Lloyd Walker on the show who's running for town council in Mounts Corner. Black woman will bring the first bit of diversity to that panel besides it being men and women. So I'm really voting and hoping that, she gets elected to shake things up a little bit in the town of Mounts Corner.
Good.
Yeah. Hi. But Krystle, you have been amazing. I want to say thank you so much for sharing all of that knowledge with us today. And my mom says you can have a glass if you want to after all the information that you
I probably will, but I gotta do hair first. So yeah, don't want them braids crooked.
Yes, listen. So y'all be sure to go to Krystle's website, pour into our local representatives. Make sure that you're out and voting for her if she's in your district. And just get out and vote, period. Yeah. Make sure you're registered, do whatever you can do, because we can't change or affect anything if we are not out at the polls and working with the people who have the power to make changes.
That's right.
All right. So it's been lovely. Thank you once again. It's your girl Candace signing off for South Carolina by Black Locally, and Representative Krystle Matthews signing off for SC House District
117.
District 117. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.
SCBBL show. Rock on. Rock on.